Good morning. It's about 9 in the morning here. It's Sunday the 15th of October and I'm in Turkey. I made it to Turkey. So this is country number 17 of the trip, notionally the last country of the trip, and continent number 2. So I've officially passed through Europe and into Asia now that I'm here in Turkey, which is quite amazing, really. I think I really can't believe how far I've come. It's over 7,000 kilometers now through 17 different countries. Oh, there's a helicopter flying overhead. That's good timing. Maybe you can see that. There it is. Thanks for ruining my video, mate. So, yeah, amazing. 2 continents, 17 countries, 7,000 kilometers. Feeling tired again, but that's because yesterday I had, I was on the ferry the night before last, over from over from Athens to Chios, and that was a night ferry, and was just sitting on a seat, so I got probably just a couple of hours of really crappy sleep on the ferry, and arrived at 5 in the morning on Chios, and then pretty much as I was getting off the ferry, there was another guy, looked like a backpacker in front of me. He had like a scarf around his neck and like long like backpacker hair and like backpacker kind of clothing, and he had like a backpack with like another backpack attached to the bottom, and I was thinking like, oh, who is this guy? Like, he's got way too much stuff here, like what is he doing? And then I had to check myself and remind myself, all right, you don't know who this guy, like you don't know what he's doing, he could be doing anything, so don't be so judgmental. And so we all like disembarked the ferry. I got my bike, and I wasn't really sure what to do, because I knew there was a ferry leaving from Chios to Çeşme in Turkey at 8 a.m. and also at 5 p.m. Pretty much every day. And so I was thinking, well, maybe I'll just hang out in Chios for a day and catch the ferry tomorrow. But I've been a bit worried about overstaying my Schengen visa after the Greek guys at the border control were warning me not to overstay. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen if I did overstay, so I wanted to be sure I was out of Greece with plenty of time. So I ended up going to the ticket office for the ferry to Çeşme, and actually at the ticket office was that same backpacker that I saw on the ferry, and another bike traveller, and they were just kind of finishing up as I went in, and so I went in and asked how much the ferry would be to Çeşme, and it was €26, which was pretty expensive for a 20-minute ferry, but I'm pretty sure that was the official price, so there was no other option, and ended up just booking the ferry for 8 a.m. So it was about 6 a.m. at this point, so I had a couple of hours spare before the ferry left, and I just thought it'd be better just to get out of Greece, and then I can get to Turkey and just not have to worry about the Schengen requirements anymore, because I'm not going to be going back to Europe until at least next year, I think. And so I got the ticket, and then I went over to where the guy said the ticket office was to board the ferry, just to make sure I knew where it was. And I went over there, and then the traveller guy and the biker dude were there as well, and so I approached them and asked them what they were up to and if they were going to Turkey, and they said yes. And we chatted for a little while. They were really friendly and nice, so we actually ended up going and getting some breakfast at a cafe down the road, and yeah, enjoyed chatting with them. The biker guy was from Germany, Mika, and he was on his way to Istanbul as well. And from there, he's flying to Vietnam to continue his travels through Asia, potentially to Australia. And the other guy, Pablo, was French, and he was actually on like a bit of an assignment because he's a journalist, I think. And his plan was to go to Lebanon or Palestine and shoot some footage there. So yeah, that's why he had so much stuff, because he had a big camera in his backpack and he had lots of. He shoots film as well, so he needed like a special, like big bulky camera. So yeah, good reminder: don't judge people before you talk to them. But yeah, they were both super nice, and yeah, we eventually went and caught the ferry at 8 o'clock. And I tell you what, just like jumping on that second ferry to Chesme and cruising away from Greece, yeah, again, it was quite surreal knowing that I had cycled across the whole continent and was about to start a new one. And I don't know, I felt like a bit emotional, but also like a bit like wasn't really sure if it was happening or not, and like hadn't really sunk in really how far I had actually gone and everything that I'd experienced the last like 3 months. Like it's been a lot, and it would take some time to process it, I guess. And I still am obviously, because yeah, I'm here in Turkey now, and it still hasn't quite set in. But yeah, we arrived in Chesme and we went through the border control, and I was expecting it to be quite rigid, stringent, because we were entering a new country. It wasn't part of Europe. I thought Turkey would be quite stringent with like border control, but it was very easy actually. I have an e-visa to get into the country. They did not even check it. I could have just walked straight in without a visa at all. They didn't care. Sometimes they ask you for a flight out of the country as well. Didn't have any of that. So it was super easy. The guy who was like scanning our bags as we went through, he was just chatting. He's like, "Oh, where are you from? Like, where are you going? Oh, that's really cool. Have fun in Turkey." All this stuff. So yeah, it was really easy and nice. And so Pablo was like, he was not on a bike, so he had to hitchhike his way to Izmir. So he said goodbye, wished him farewell, and then Mika and I decided we were going to ride together for a while, which we did, and that was really fun in the morning, although I was feeling really quite tired from the shitty sleep I had. So honestly, I kind of just wanted to not talk too much. Though I tried to be, kind of personable and friendly. I hope I wasn't too grumpy. But Mika had a warm showers host lined up for that night. He was much more organised than me, so he had to be in Izmir by I think 3 o'clock, which was about 100 kilometres away. So he went the direct route, and I wanted to follow the Urveli 8 along the coast. So we said farewell like after about an hour or so of riding together. I got his number, so we might meet up again in the next couple of days on the way to Istanbul, or maybe in Istanbul itself. I'm not sure, but I hope so, because it was fun riding together. It would be cool to ride into Istanbul together. But yeah, the rest of the day I was spent running by myself, and so I was feeling really quite tired from the crappy sleep I had, and I kept thinking, I should just stop here and have a rest or have a nap or something, and I didn't. I kept going, and eventually I stopped for lunch, and I wanted to get some Wi-Fi and a coffee somewhere, so I sat down at a restaurant, but the restaurant didn't have Wi-Fi or coffee, so I had a pizza instead, and then I went to another restaurant to get a coffee, and it took me a while to get the Wi-Fi working because my phone screen is broken again, and it's not really working, so I'm probably just going to have to get a new phone, I think, maybe in Istanbul. And I had a coffee, but then I didn't have any cash to pay for it, so the owners were really friendly. They didn't really speak English, but they just said, don't worry about it, like just don't worry about it, just go. And I felt really bad because I didn't pay for the coffee, but I really didn't have any way to pay for it because they didn't take my card. And yeah, so I was like feeling a bit like disheveled, I guess, still, and I was just feeling really tired, and I could sense how it was affecting my mood having not enough sleep, which was interesting because I was listening again to a podcast about a lady called Katya who has been racing a lot, bikepacking racing a lot in the US, and she was talking about how she deals with sleep deprivation and all this stuff. And you know, I'm in awe of how these people race on like between like 0 and like 4 hours of sleep for like weeks at a time. It's pretty bloody impressive, and I don't know if I can handle it. But we'll see, I think. But yeah, I was going, it was a pretty flat day, and there was some really beautiful coastline, so it was actually a really nice ride, but I just struggled to enjoy it with my state of mind and my energy levels. Later in the day I did find my first Eurovelo 8 sign, which was quite cool because according to the website this section of the route is developed and it has signs, but I hadn't really seen any until that point. So it was a sign which had been so like faded away by the weather and the wind, it was like completely blank, and then like there was this tiny little Eurovelo number 8 sticker on the bottom corner of it. So that was the developed sign, I guess. And I thought that was quite funny, but soon enough in the next like couple of kilometers I did actually start seeing some proper signs that you could actually read, so that was quite cool. And then I was approaching the town of Izmir late in the afternoon, and stopped to get I stopped to have dinner. Basically I just sat and had dinner on like the Esplanade, which was really beautiful. There was heaps of people fishing and people walking around having dinner, and I just watched the sun go down, and that was really, really nice actually. But the only problem was I had no idea where I was going to be sleeping, and I didn't really see anything in the vicinity where I could sleep. But I kept telling myself, you know, it will work out, it always works out. So I jumped back on the bike after having dinner. I rode for about 10 meters, and then I realized that my rear tire was flat. So that was like the worst thing that could happen, because basically the sun had just gone down, it was getting dark, I had nowhere to sleep, and I had a flat tire now. So I saw on the map there was like a park coming up, so I thought I'll aim for that, and I just started walking the bike there. As I was walking there, another guy on a bike rode past, and he stopped and asked if I needed help, and I said no, I'm all good, and he kept going, so that was really nice of him. But then I ducked into the park, and I don't know, it was like a field or like a farm or something that had been abandoned. Like there was heaps of empty open space there, which was really lucky because it was in the middle of like suburbia basically. So I did go in there and pitched my tent, and then I set about fixing the flat tire, because I thought it's better to do it now than do it in the morning. It was still only about 8 o'clock at night, so I had time. And in the process I was like looking at my tire with my headlight on, and I think I pulled out about 6 thorns in total out of the tire, and some of them were so like far in the tire that you couldn't even see them. I just had to like really look at them like closely to see like just the very end of the thorn sticking out. So I pulled all of them out with my pliers. Couldn't see any holes in the tube. I guess they're like microscopic. And then I put my new tube in, put that back on, fixed all that, and I was like, all right, now I can finally go to sleep, because I was like so exhausted at this point. And then I looked over, and my front tire was flat as well. It's like, oh my god, I was so over it at this point. So I took the front wheel off and checked that, and also again I found like 6 or 7 thorns stuck in that front tire. Pulled them all out, I think. There's probably still some in there. And yeah, I used my last tube. So I had 2 spare tubes. One I had repaired already at the hostel. So yeah, again, I couldn't see any issues with the tube that I took out, but I guess it's got microscopic holes in it. So those two, my 2 spare tubes are both in my tires now, and I've got 2 tubes that have holes in them, and basically no spares. So I'm on the ocean at the moment again. I found this spot here to have breakfast, which is really nice, and I'm heading over to Izmir, which is across the ocean there, and hopefully I can find a bike shop to get some new spare tubes, and hopefully I don't get any more flats on the way there, because yeah, I don't really like this situation of riding around with no spare tubes, and the tubes I have, I can't fix them because I can't see any holes in them. So yeah, hopefully I get there. Yeah, and hopefully I can catch up with Mika as well. Like, I don't know, I'm feeling a bit frazzled, yeah, just with this stuff with the tires. Like, I want to get a phone SIM card, I think, so I can just have some internet, because it's been a bit annoying trying to find Wi-Fi. I haven't found anything so far, and can't contact people for warm showers or anything. I just want to like get my stuff together. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen today. I'll go as far as I can, get to the bike shop and see what happens. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird start to Turkey, but I'm faithful that it's going to get better. And theoretically, it's only a few days until Istanbul. I think it's about 400k away from here. So yeah, that would be pretty amazing to get there, because that's the goal of the trip. And yeah, that would mean I've completed the trip basically. I have been thinking about continuing east, but I'll save that for another video. So cheers, wish me luck for today. Thanks for listening.